There's nothing finer to me than to be on the water when that sun comes peeking in under that Carolina sky in the Lord's creation, ripping some lips on my favorite waters, taking blind hog adventures with some of my best buddies.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Blind Hog Adventures. As we start the new year, a little less of me and Gaston and a little more of people in our community, in our area. So for our first guest here, for this episode, we have Mr. Michael Letchworth, part of Sam Jones BBQ. You'll know him through Fox Hollow Outdoors. He's a man of many talents and interests. I've got him at the table with me today. I've got Gaston with me today, as always, my co-partner here. But just a really cool day that we're kind of hanging out and just having a good time. We've already been fishing today, and we'll get into that a little bit because we had some stuff happen that was just, if I didn't have it on film, I wouldn't believe it myself, but we'll talk about that.
I still don't believe it. I saw it. I can't believe we got it the way we got it.
That's right. So we'll leave you into that. So keep on following along. But just some really cool stuff. So I'm going to introduce, like I said, we have Mr. Michael Letchworth here, and I'm going to just let you tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us a little bit of your backstory, kind of how you got involved with barbecue, how you got involved with Fox Hollow Outdoors, and just kind of introduce yourself, if you will.
Yeah. So the barbecue was an unintentional career. I worked at Skylight Inn in Ada, North Carolina, through high school and college, and that all spawned from just meeting Samuel Jones on a creek path when I was younger. Our families lived a couple miles from each other, and kind of got to know him, started riding four-wheelers with him. It was a 7-year age difference, so I kind of looked up to him, wanted to do what him and his buddies were doing, and so that was working at Skylight Inn and joining the fire department and doing what they did. So I continued that. I went to East Carolina for construction management and thought that I would do a career somewhat related to that. But went on a couple of events that Samuel had been invited on, and in my time when I graduated, I quit Skylight, was working in construction. I went on some of these events and I guess saw a different side of the business. I didn't see it as like the burger flipping restaurant job, that was supposed to be a stepping stone and a means to an end for a time period. And so I just expressed interest to come back. And at that time, Sam Jones BBQ wasn't even an idea or thought of. And then he had a mentor that kind of encouraged him to maybe do something different. And so he came to me and offered me an opportunity to be a partner in what was going to be the Sam Jones Winterville store. And
tell everybody where that is, just so they can know where it's at.
It's kind of right across from Sam's Club and Pitt Community College, on the edge of Greenville. We opened there in 2015. We also do have a location in Raleigh that's downtown by where the Red Hat Amphitheater is. We've been there since February of 2021. But when I took the opportunity, I never had any ambition of owning a business. When I took the opportunity, I didn't have any financial means exactly to be starting a business or anything, so it was a very scary thing, and I didn't know quite what it all meant. But my ultimate job was just to be the boots on the ground, have skin in the game, partner, and run the Winterville store. So essentially general manager of that Winterville location. And I did that for a couple years, and then there were still these events happening out on the road, and quite honestly, they were more fun than managing the restaurant.
That's right.
But they were distracted to managing the restaurant. So there was a period of trying to figure that out. But so as I was going and trying to help Samuel do these things, because at the end of the day, it still did take a certain skill set to go off and do those events and a certain representation of our brand. So it worked out, send me versus having to pay somebody hourly to be out on the road doing it. But I had some key people step in at the restaurant that kind of took some of the responsibilities for me from the day to day, and that evolved. And then I was able to kind of start stepping my way out of the complete everyday responsibilities, which freed up to eventually be the ability to kind of start working on the Raleigh store and do those kind of things. Because when we opened up, we never had intentions of having 2 restaurants or growing that brand. And now we have a retail company also, and we do some online shipping and, sauces and seasons and that kind of stuff. So the outdoor kind of thing really came along partially through Sam Jones BBQ, because in 2000, 14, Samuel came on as like an ambassador with Yeti Coolers. And as they would invite him to go out and do things, I would come along too to help cook the pig or whatever. So I started meeting, if it was the social media person or the intern, these people that were working at Yeti. And so then as we would travel doing other events, it'd be like, oh, come be a part of this product shoot or come help out with this or just hanging out. Well, these people that were interns in 2017 or 18 now are, have positions with other brands out there.
In the business.
Right. And the person who was, just a community marketing manager for the barbecue team there, or now is, high up in the marketing, department at Yeti. And so those relationships have been maintained, and that really kind of has helped me experience some things in the outdoors. So when we would travel, and I'm talking, Hawaii, Texas, Florida, all over the
places
country.
You never thought barbecue would carry you in, outdoors and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
But I got tired of sitting at the hotel. I would start hiring a fishing guide. So like I'd fish like the concrete ditches of Houston when we were in Texas, or, hit up people we had met through these photo shoots in Charleston and go fishing. And so I would fish in that way, but I never did it for myself. I didn't own a boat. I think I had like a fishing rod, but all this stuff was all guided or going with a buddy. Mm-hmm. I have a 7-year-old son. When he was around 4, I have no clue. Prior to it, never heard of it. He ran across Carolina All Out on YouTube.
Yeah.
And man, he loved the taxidermy videos, and he was watching some of the fishing videos and stuff. And so because of that, I started watching with him. I was like, dang, and it kind of rekindled this interest in me from when I was younger. And I wanted to hunt, and I had buddies that hunted and fished. My dad didn't do it. My family didn't do it. So once again, my whole life I lived in this conditional experience with outdoors was if I was invited, mm-hmm. or if I knew somebody to go. And I decided that I was going to try to, pursue this for him and acquire the resources that we needed to start kind of chasing this outdoor stuff. And so we spent a whole summer hiring fishing guides and learning and getting a boat and doing all these different things and just kind of really going after it. And so then that turned to, well, wait a minute, now we're killing animals and we're catching fish and we're processing ourselves. Let me I'm in the barbecue business. I make seasonings. I create the seasonings that we sell that we're using at the restaurant. Let me do
that's actually yours that you create and do.
Yeah.
And that's really cool.
So everything at our restaurant, we cook all of our meats with wood coals. Everything's made from scratch. The sauces that we put on it, we created. The seasonings we created. And the seasoning that we're using on all of our meat, we call it Rub Potion. That was something I created back in like 2013 to bottle up and give to friends and family as a Christmas gift.
That's awesome.
And then we ended up, and I know where I was driving, didn't know what to name it. And that old song, Love Potion number 9 or whatever. So it's like, Rub Potion number 9. so I was like, it's going to be called Rub Potion.
That's
so
awesome.
It's called Rub Potion number Swan. And when we opened the restaurant, Samuel said, hey, let's just use that season that you've been doing. So I had
cool.
The guy we have deep relationships with the people that we do business with. And so the seasonings that we get made are blended outside of Aden, and I've got a good friendship with the owners there. And so I was like, hey, I got this idea of some seasoning. Can you help me out? Like maybe not have to do a full pallet of sauce or seasoning me. So that's what started. And we live on Fox Hollow Drive. So I said, all right, Fox Hollow Outdoors. And
cool.
So because I'm extra, I can't just make seasoning. Now I have to get it bottled. Now I have to get a label made. And then because we had the label made, I wanted to get some t-shirts and hats made. And so Fox Hollow Outdoors was something that started as, unintentional just for us. And then we had this excess of inventory that we wanted to sell off, and people kind of showed interest in it.
Yeah. Had to have a way to make it available.
Yeah, and then as Larkin, when this thing started, Larkin was 4.5, 5 years old. Now he's 7. Now we can go set up at like a little festival or something. He can sell it, and he likes talking to people. It makes me very proud to see him interact. But it's kind of a means to an end for some lessons, some life lessons maybe. Yeah. But it's, for me, ultimately, it's a creative outlet. I like making these different lures. and then selling them. And, I can't tell you how many pounds of barbecue we've sold, and I can't tell you how many, things that, t-shirts we've designed for the restaurant or whatever, but it just feels different. Like I have so much happiness when I'm laying in bed. I don't know, I guess people lay in bed at nighttime and watch YouTube and start buying stuff. I mean, I know, I guess I do the same thing, but when I'm laying in bed about 8:30, 9 o'clock and I hear that little cha-ching, and I look and it's like new order, and like I see somebody's bought a lure or bought a bottle of seasoning or a hat, and it's fun, it's happy. Now I'll tell Larkin, hey bro, we got another order. Sometimes we'll wake up right then and go print a label and pack it, and sometimes the next morning, we pack it out together and stuff. So Foxhole Outdoors is just a creative outlet and something fun.
You can do with your son. I mean, and that's the way. I mean, look at Blind Hog is now Blind Hog Outdoors, whatever you call it, Blind Hog Adventures, Blind Hog, whatever. We did not ever, this podcast, we didn't see this becoming this. It was a way to capture memories. It was a way to capture memories of a father, right? It was a way for, Gaston, right? He had his stuff with Kingfisher, with Kingfisher charters. That wasn't, it wasn't always a let's make money kind of thing. Things morph, right? They kind of morph into things, and as you kind of get to where it becomes more special to you because of people around you and relationships. And one thing we push on the podcast, and we've had a chance to speak with some young people. I talked to the group in Plymouth, the CTO boys and stuff like that. Matt Little and all of them do a great job over there. And one thing we pushed was your name goes before you. So if you didn't have that name, that reputation, if you didn't treat people well, if you didn't do all these things and network like you did, this wouldn't be a reality now because that happened years ago.
Right.
And so as you go out there and you come across people may say, well, you're a different podcast. You tell people what to catch, how to catch. You tell them where you caught it at, what you used it on. It's not about us keeping it to ourselves when you can make somebody else's life better, right? That's what it's about. And it's honestly how we reached out to, us reaching out through social media back and forth. Actually, it started out with me not knowing what you did, honestly. It was you and your son. And I was like, dude, this is awesome. This is, hey, good for you guys. And that's honestly how we really started connecting was over, I have a daughter, you have a son. And it was being an encourager. It wasn't, oh, what can we get? What can we connect? How can we network? No, it was two dudes that were living country life and loving it and doing that. And then I was like, hey man, Gaston, you gotta check this dude out, man. I didn't have a clue he did all this stuff. And we were like, wow, this is pretty cool. And it led to today.
Well, so that's another thing too. So like so much of the last 10 years of my life has been completely identified by like barbecue, and so many of the people that like follow me on Instagram and stuff like that are barbecue people. And I know when they followed me, they thought they were going to get like barbecue pictures and cooking pictures and all that kind of stuff. But that became so much of my life that it kind of dwindled as a passion. And so when you follow me, you're going to see mainly Larkin.
Yeah.
But it's like just me and Larkin on these adventures. And as he ebbs and flows in his interest as he gets older, we're not. I told him that. I said, "But I feel like you're my son. I don't feel like you're my buddy like we used to be. Like we got to get going again." But like I discovered your stuff because unfortunately, there's not a ton of like Pamlico River inshore content out there on YouTube, and the videos that are a couple years old, and I ran across you. I can't remember. You're like in the middle of like some little bay or like some little open, and you're fishing from the back of the boat. And I was like, we would just watch it together and stuff. And so, when we ended up connecting, it was like I knew exactly who you were because I tracked down the stuff. So it was cool to see you guys putting the content out there because as we do this stuff, I think it becomes kind of like I hate to say a lifestyle.
It does.
But you've got this mutual interest, and it's like that's what you want to chase. That's what you're thinking about. That's what you're scrolling about. That's what you're doing. It's kind of nice just to find a way to create a community within it.
Well, I mean, the passion really grows, right? I mean, like you said, you went and now you're posting pictures of fishing. People thought they were going to see barbecue. Now it's fishing. The passion is what brings us all here. And I mean, I'm looking around your shop and there's baits everywhere. I mean, that's the problem.
This is like the ultimate man cave.
It's more like an addiction, I think.
It is.
And it leads to that. But it's what you do that's fun for you and what you enjoy. And it leads you in places that you wouldn't ever think it would lead you. I never thought I'd be sitting here doing a podcast. I mean, really, Corey threw that idea out to us, and it was just like one thing after another. And I mean, I don't want to say it's gotten big, but it's bigger than I thought it would be right now.
Yeah.
So it's like a snowball going downhill. It's one thing after another. And I mean, we'll see where we go next, but it's been a pretty fun journey. And what this is 4 or 5 months. I mean, it's,
I think 5. I think we're on 5 right
we're
now.
not far into this thing, but
and
we've enjoyed it.
And Northeast North Carolina has so much, right? And I say Northeast, but basically from the center part of the state up, and then basically from 17 east is about what we cover. You know, some of the rivers and stuff go past that, but I mean, you look at all the Outer Banks, and that translates to so many people, right? And that is awesome. Like you say, when you sit down and try to find something, like I said, I just try to find people with similar interests. I try to find people with similar things that they love and they follow. And then when you get together, it's not this weird time. It's actually like the day when we fished this morning. We hit it off from the ground running. We've been talking. I mean, having a good time.
If you can't talk junk and fish, then that I know that you're gonna get along with us too.
But it's just been a great time, man. And that's the thing, like you say. So your network matters, and I say that not in a financial "what can I get from it" thing. How can I be supportive to someone? How can they be supportive to me in life in general, right? And life in general is family. Life in general is your friends. Life in general is what your passion is in your business. And it encompasses all of it. And so if you can make that better, man, it's been totally a cool ride. When I started looking at it, so one of the things I love watching on TV, you're talking about him watching Carolina All Out, and I had a chance to meet them at the Greenville show last year and get a little better acquainted with them. And that's something we all watch, right? And so, but then when I started looking on your stuff, I love to watch the barbecue stuff. So I love watching the barbecue championships and the Kingster stuff and all. Yeah. And so I started looking at your stuff and I'm like, holy crap, that's Tuffy Stone. Oh, wow, that's Myron Mix. And you're sitting there in pictures with him holding trophies like you beat him. And I'm like, this dude literally is standing on the thing. I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, this is awesome.
So like that in that recent picture you were talking about. And so here's how it goes, man. I went to a Yeti event back in like 2017 and just struck up conversation with Matt Pittman from Meat Church. Uh-huh. So just like we have today, we just hit it off. It wasn't about what we really did for a living. It was just like, and then we kept talking the rest of the night. We've been friends ever since. And, Meat Church as a brand has just exploded.
I love
and
watching
people
that.
know, the YouTube videos and all the product and all that kind of stuff. And that was just a genuine friendship. And then Tuffy and I met each other through barbecue stuff on the road, but how our friendship really sparked was this past August. Matt, through another friend of ours that we met through Yeti on the same trip together years ago, as a fishing guy down the Keys, they put together this weekend, and it's lobster diving, fishing, and barbecuing, and it's called
that sounds like
perfection.
So it used to be called the Rub and Tug Invitational. Some corporate sponsors have gotten involved, and now is the Key West Invitational. But it's a great weekend for a great cause. But we go down and we have one day where we fish, and it's a point structure. The next day we go lobster diving, and on the back end of the lobster diving day, we go out to a sandbar. We had a cheeseburger competition. That's what we won together. That was that weekend. And then, the final day is a barbecue competition. And so there's a winner of each day, but then there's an aggregate winner of the weekend. Barbecue is what we all do. But fishing is what we all enjoy.
That's right.
And it was a cool way to combine and mix the things.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. So talking about combining things, we're going to go ahead and jump to this story because we're going to kind of start off with it. Today is one of them days that we went out fishing, and I don't think, if I hadn't got it on film on my GoPro,
I cannot wait to see it.
I wouldn't have believed it. So today was a very hard day of fishing. It was cold. Water temps were about 40, 41. Air temps were low 40s, probably starting off. I think it was 38 when I left the house this morning. And so we're sitting here in February recording this. January recording this. And so it was cold. We're talking about closing down trout season and all this stuff. We didn't know what we were going to run into. So we went and fished a creek this morning and went to the back, and we're trying to check some stuff out, and we start seeing life. And I started off the morning by hooking over 20-inch, and I won't even lie, I hooked him right in the tail. And so he went come up and tail slapped it. Well, I yanked the mess out of it, and so I hooked him in the tail. And we get him up, and I'm like, wow, well, there's gar breaking everywhere. And so after a while, we keep hanging on sticks and we're hanging on gar and hanging on different stuff and not much success. So the gentleman here across from me, which would be Mr. Michael Letchworth, decides, you know what, we're going to turn this into a gar fishing day. We all do. We basically just took our whooping like men and said, you know what, today's going to become the gar invitational. And so I'm going to let you just explain how you decided to tie this on, and then we'll talk about what we actually caught, because nobody's going to believe it if it weren't on film.
So back there, it's just frustrating because you're always getting caught on the bottom, and it seems like all we could do is foul hook a gar. That's what that has been the last couple of times I fished in that hole. So just got fed up with it, and I decided to go digging in my leaning post storage box, and I found some number 2 treble hooks and a little, I don't even know if it was like a 3/8 of an ounce egg sinker. And so essentially I made like a Carolina rig and put the treble on the end, had the slide and the egg sinker on it. And I just started throwing, my intention was I was just going to throw out like alligator fishing and just side hook these gar and just try to make something of the day. And, these boys are laughing at me, kind of, what in the world is this boy doing? And I literally throw this thing out the first cast.
First cast.
Give it a couple of seconds, and then I start reeling it, and I feel what I'm assuming I'm hitting like a gar or something, and I kind of pop it, and then the next thing I know, I pop and feel some, I feel some resistance, and I pop it, but this feels different. And as I'm getting it closer, and everybody's giving their prediction of what they think it is, and daggone, I look down and I see just a fat trout head,
softball mouth,
yellow mouth,
great big softball yellow mouth.
And I'm freaking out. This fish is thick, and the biggest trout I'd ever caught was a 26-inch trout, and I just knew this one was bigger than that. But the crazy thing was, mind you, this was just an empty treble hook. And this trout hit the empty treble hook. Like, I didn't foul hook it in the back or the tail or anything like that. And so, I'm freaking out, yelling for the net.
I thought it was joking.
I did too. First I saw it and I was like, oh wow.
So we ended up going from catching gar and mullet to
trying to land a citation trout.
Yeah, I mean, it's 25 and a quarter. 25 and a quarter, but that was
that was a big fish. That was a hefty fish.
But it's just the definition of fishing. You grind it out, you have a crap day, and you catch one fish that changes it all. It's like making a birdie on 18.
I was going to say, it's like golf, right?
And so, shot. Yeah, and the thing about it is, I'm throwing right beside him with a beautiful pink paddle tail. Yeah. Gasson's throwing. I can't tell you what his bait he was throwing. It is secretive. I can't tell you. I can't tell you. But anyway, he's throwing a bait that has been known to produce big fish, and we're sitting there striking out, and my man's got a bare treble on, pulling up a citation. So we get it in, and man,
I want to say this too. I mean, we're in 13 foot of water. Anywhere between 11 and 13, and he's reeling this across the top of the water.
Yeah, I was top 2 foot of the water.
Sure. And the water's 40 degrees, so you would think these trout are sitting on the bottom just trying to survive. This man catches on a bare treble hook in the first 2 foot of the water column a freaking 25 and a quarter.
In the mouth. In the corner of the mouth. This wasn't a foul hook. This is the trout bit the hook.
First cast.
First cast.
Yes, that is the other crazy thing.
Yeah, and we have pictures to prove it. It will be, you'll probably see that as one of our thumbnails as showing this on.
Before we go any further in the show, I want to just tell you about a few of our podcast partners. These great companies come alongside of us. They're North Carolina made, based here mainly in the state, and are great people that have come along and give us things that we can pass along to you, our listeners, and just say thank you. One of those is Redline Rigs. Redline Rigs is awesome. They are firefighter owned, American made, angler tested, and fish approved. They have all your great inshore fishing tackle needs, and just one of the most amazing popping corks that you will ever find. Fox Hollow Outdoors, Michael Letchworth and his crew over there. Their slogan is seasoned by tradition and built for the outdoors. They have all your seasoning, tackle, and apparel needs over there. Check them out at foxhollowOutdoors.com. Stroud and Sun Marine. They're located in Edenton, North Carolina. They are our boat dealer, servicer, for Gaston and I. They're just great people. Check out Jeannie and Renee over there for all your sales and service needs. You can check them out for their inventory and to book a service. They're at StroudandSon.com. Backwater Bandits, Stephen and Patrick and the crew over there hand make every lure and bait. Their slogan is slinging slime is not a crime. They have one of the most sought after baits are at a lot of our local tackle shops, but you also can check them out for the local drops each week on their website, Thursdays at 7 p.m. And last but not least, we have Salt Strong. I'm a proud member, and I'm the coach from North Carolina. And the reason I'm associated with them is because of the mission that they do. And that's to create the most trusted saltwater fishing community in America. If you're looking for a place that you can belong, learn, and not experience some of the stuff we do on some of the Facebook groups, it's a great place to do. They unite friends and family through fishing. They serve fishermen, and they honor God and Jesus Christ in everything they do. And that fits right along here with our vision on the show. So we just thank these great companies for coming alongside of us, North Carolina based, North Carolina proud. Let's get on back to the show and see what else we can talk about today.
Tackle to try to catch a big fish, and all I needed was an empty treble hook.
Empty treble hook. Yeah, that was amazing. And so then we end up taking we were trying to fish weedless, and me and guys look at each other like, this ain't right. We're fishing weedless to stop the rigs and not catch.
Oh, yeah.
We both
had no chance to foul hook one.
No. Yeah. So we went both open hooks and went to snatching everything that bumped.
Well, luckily Michael took a break. I picked up his rod and I finally caught me a little bit.
I had to stop fishing. Yeah. So Gaston was he was the only person who had pliers on his hip. So every time we hooked these gar, he volunteered to unhook all of them. So just to give him a chance, I had to put my rod down. I went ahead and filed for my citation so he could have for a second.
I'm just saying, if you ever need a net man, I'm for hire. I'm pretty cheap. I'm a good net man.
You were.
But, I feel like so many times when you go, well, for me, there's these expectations as you want to find a fish, and what is your where'd you put the bar for yourself that day? Is it a limit? Is it a certain size fish? Is it whatever it is? And you go after it, and you don't achieve that, and it's like a bummer, right? And so we have these preconceived expectations for the day that determine the mood of the trip. But the day could have easily been that day where we were like, this sucks. This was an awful trout fishing day, and it was.
It was an awful trout fishing day, but it was a heck of a fun fishing day.
And that's the thing too, is it's even if we didn't catch the gar, right? I mean, if you're on the water, you can find a way to have a good time. Now, the way we like to catch fish, so hey, foul hook and gar to us, that was entertainment. That was fun.
I can't wait to carry Larkin to do that.
So I'm telling you, I believe that would be.
They fight.
Can you imagine somebody that never really caught a fish of any size? I'm talking most of these gar were 25 plus inch. One of them was probably close to, I don't know how big.
But back then, we weren't just foul hooking the gar.
No, some were biting.
The gar were biting that treble hook.
Some of them were biting. And I mean, and like you say, them fish were fighting and pulling drag and all that stuff. And I mean, you're talking 30 plus inch gar. It was amazing. And a day, like you say, sometimes we can get so hung up on what makes something a good day or a bad day. When we got thinking about it, it was a day on the water that we got to spend with buddies, that we got to talk back and forth, that we got to laugh and joke, that we got to hook some fish and hear some drag pulled. I mean, and we went by a number of guys, and we were like, and we knew some of these guys, and we were like, hey, did y'all do anything today? And they're like, nah, we ain't had a bite. I mean, and we're sitting there, they said, what were y'all throwing back there? Because y'all were reeling in fish left and right. Yeah. And I mean, and they didn't crowd us. They were absolute gentlemen on the water. And they were like, what were y'all doing? And we said, we were foul hooking gar and pulling them in hard as we could. They said, well, we were wondering because the water was tearing up and y'all were dead fish.
They were close enough. They were thinking, they're like, man, boys, they were wearing them out. In our minds, for a few minutes, buddy, we were the elite.
That's right. They were like sending us texts and stuff. Yeah. What are y'all throwing? We can see if we got one.
Well, they were far enough away. All they could see was us getting a net.
That's it.
And hey, they were like, all right, we ain't caught nothing. These boys grabbed the net.
At least a dozen to 20 times. I've got a boat. It was fun.
Gaston's got calluses on his hands working that net today.
I really do.
You seem to do a lot of the mirror lure style and stuff like that. Kind of explain what drew you to that route, and like what is some of your favorites that you do?
Yeah, so, man, the thing is, I really didn't even fish and don't fish mirror lures that much. But to be able to partner with mirror lure to get them to make some of the customs was the easiest way to have a personalized bait for Fox Hollow. These, unless you're going to go out and get somebody to CNC you your own personal mold to push soft plastics in, everybody can go buy the same mold. And so to have something individual, it's tough. On top of the fact, pushing baits in your garage every night, unless you're going to really invest the money to make these things in big bulk, I mean, it's not the most profitable business setup to do.
So a lot of people do think about, oh man, it looks like I could make a fortune on selling baits, right? Is that really, I mean, as a person doing that, could you sustain your livelihood off just selling baits?
No, I can't even sustain my habit off of baits.
So that's what but a person that has that, I wanted to kind of, because I think, man, let me order these molds, let me start injecting, I can do this. It really isn't always as glamorous as it seems, right?
So for me, the way I go about it, and I am not into bait business, I'm the farthest thing from that. I enjoy, like, my decompressant from work and everything would be getting in the garage and pushing soft plastics and mixing colors and glitters and everything and making paddle tails. And then the leftovers, I'll melt back down and make blends. And I just have all these excess paddle tails. And then we'll go set up at an event to sell T-shirts and seasonings and mirror lures or whatever. And then I will sell the paddle tails. My son walks around and he sells them, and whatever money he sells, if he gets cash, he gets to keep it. And so it's just that deal. Now, I'm not
teaching him life lessons too.
Yeah. Now, you want to sell baits for a living? The Twitch baits and that kind of stuff, I think you can make one that is unique, like what the guys have been doing with the Buttercup, that work.
Right.
Outside of that, a paddle tail is kind of a paddle. I'm not saying that all paddle tails are created equal, but a paddle tail is a paddle tail. So if you really want to make it in the bait business, you don't need a bait, you need a brand.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So you need to sell a brand, not a bait. And yes, your brand can sell baits, but can you make money at it? I think if you're not expecting to make money on the front end, because by the time you invest the proper money for branding and the infrastructure of a brand, I think there's potential. Or you grassroots it and, let it be slow and not have high expectations. Like, I have no clue what Fox Hollow will be, won't be. Fox Hollow may be until I get tired of being. But right now we enjoy it. And, I went through a spell where I was airbrushing top waters, and they get in the way, and we try to go sell them off or do whatever. But
one thing I've noticed with your baits, with your mirror lures, is they are very I'll call it anywhere that touches the Pamlico Sound, kind of like we do with Blind Hog. They are very centric to our area.
100%. And that was all me. I needed.
You created all these colors. I mean, you did it for our area, our water, all that stuff, right?
So it was, just for example, you tell me, I got this mirror lure that I always use, or this twitching wrap that I always use, and it's this color and that color. So I'm paying attention to those things. I'm like, okay. And then it became creative. Like, let me put these to color. Or here's this one I think is going to work good, and here's one that I think that'll look cool, because I'm totally trying to catch fishermen too.
Yeah.
So
my wife would tell you I'm very good at getting caught, unfortunately. So I'd be that trout.
People tell me, so I'll have people come from, I've had people come from South America, from across the country, and they'll call up and say, hey, can we come and spend a week in your pit house? Or can I spend 2 days in your pit house and learn something? And these guys are passionate about barbecue. And I'll tell them, I said, you are more than welcome to come. You can hang out, tell you anything you want to know about our operations, the cooking side, the business side, whatever you want. But if you're coming here trying to find a secret, there ain't one. Like, we're not doing anything different than there's no aha moment here. Right. I looked at her Instagram. I'm like, I can tell by what you're already doing, you know just as much about how to cook as we do. Like, whatever. So I feel like with fishing, you're chasing a secret. Like, what's that secret bait, or what's this secret thing? And even when you freaking know better, you still try to find something that's going to make the difference. I mean, you have that hot day throwing purple. Next thing you know, on the way home, you've done Googled and you done bought 5 packs of that. That one because it looks like it.
I got to say, Gaston is the exception to the rule on that one. My man is...
I'm not really the exception now, because if you look at my bag and everything I've got between the camper and the house back home and the shop and this and that, I've got the baits.
Yeah.
I just don't throw them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the difference with me. I have the baits. I just throw 3 of them. And I've told y'all on this podcast several times what they are. It still hasn't changed today.
Yeah.
Well, we get, we've already identified that me and Corey like to change baits, and we're quick snap guys.
So we went up to a flat and we found some 44-degree water, which may sound, that's still cold, but it was the warmest water we had found. First cast, second cast, you had a good hit on it. And he said, better tell you what I want to throw. And he went and changed it. And I threw it right back in the hole. And I was like, I ain't going to change on this one. I'm going to try to catch the fish.
The only time that might help, if that maybe isn't the profile or color that the fish want, they're just kind of slapping at it.
Yeah.
So it could, that could make a difference. A lot of times I'm hard-headed. My whole family would tell you that. I'll just keep throwing it.
Yeah. But it's still it's a learning process, right? That's what we're doing. And when you go on the boat with someone like we did today, we've all got different tendencies. We've all got different habits. We've all got different things. And then when you start talking and comparing, you're not too far apart, though. It's just little tiny things that kind of separate what you're doing. And when you can start narrowing those down, we learn, right? So we were each talking about different instances, learning about where these fish are moving and how we can relate it to other creeks, or, hey, I've tried this here. It really is. You get down to it. It's all of us just constantly, I think, having that drive to learn, to pass it along, to help, to share. And that's what makes, honestly, if someone's going to be in our network, and I say our network of our close friends, and it's not this all-exclusive club of, you got to be good enough to be in. No, it's the kind of people you want to surround you, and that's in life, that's in whatever. And I think that's something we all share at this table sitting here today is it's not one of those things that we're going to hold our nose up at anybody on anything in any situation. But you also want to get and to give. You also want to help and to receive, right? It's how can we just make life better and come across good quality people. And a lot of people are looking for that. And I think they turn to the outdoors because usually outdoorsmen in whatever realm of that, they see something bigger than just the little tiny, their picture, right?
Generally good folks.
Generally good people. Yep. And that's what...
And it's an equalizer in social status, financial status, all this stuff,
Yeah.
And, you take somebody who... Anybody can catch a fish. And it doesn't take a $10,000 rod to do it.
Yeah.
You proved that today, buddy. Bear, treble hook.
I think a conversation too. I don't know, how depth y'all go, but I think it's something important to talk about one day. Maybe we can have a follow-up conversation about is about equipment. People getting into trout fishing, they hear people talk about this rod or this reel or this bait, and then a lot of times it's just like in life, you find somebody who you look up to, you respect, and so you want whatever they got, or you believe whatever they say is the gospel, and maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe that person's getting paid to say what they're saying.
Yeah.
Maybe that person isn't. So I think it's going through rods and actions and reels and all that kind of stuff, and really what the consequences are or aren't.
And one thing I think also too is we got on the boat today, each of us are throwing a different kind of rod, each of us are throwing a different kind of reel, each of us actually, come to find out, are throwing a different kind of braid and a different poundage of braid. We had different baits on, so honestly you could pick up someone's rod and actually go with people and learn some of that stuff and then explain why it works in this situation or whatever.
Well, if you only fish alone, or you only fish with people that are at your skill level, you may not, like you watch videos and you may think that if this time of year, if you go fishing, there's no need to, you better only throw a mirror lure. It better be a slow sinking twitch bait. You're not going to catch anything unless you do it that way. And I fell victim to that early on. And then there was one day I was fishing this area and it was February, water's cold, and I've got my peanut out there and I'm twitching it and I'm pausing and I've got my mirror lure and I'm just not getting it. And I'm looking around me at other boats and I'm watching these guys constant reeling. And I'm like, what are these? It is February. What are they doing constant reeling? And, paddle tail. And they're catching fish. And I pay attention, I swap, and I'm like, boom. And that was an aha moment for me, self-discovered that there is no box that you can put everything in. It's not going to be a certain bait only. I fully believe that there are certain baits that make more sense.
Yeah.
And there's a time and a place. And
I caught fish on I was throwing a paddle tail this morning. I mean, and these guys are throwing something a little different, but I knew that I could slow roll that paddle tail. I knew what color I wanted. I threw a pink and white this morning. I knew with the watercolor and caught fish on it. I mean, I did catch some fish on that this morning. And then my man stood beside me with a bare treble and an egg sinker and caught caught a citation trout, and
It questions life.
it makes you question life and think, what am I doing wrong? I mean,
All right, now if you get deep into thinking, but like think about just how coincidental that was. Whatever that vision was, whatever the happenstance timing was on that hit, and then just think about that every other on these big fish you've caught. Like, did it matter?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it'll keep you up at night, right? I mean, right place, right time. I mean, what are the chances of that ever even happening again? I guess probably zero. Well, maybe tomorrow because you're going to throw it tomorrow. But I mean, who is going to take a bear?
Not to try to catch a trout. I'm going to carry Larkin to go catch
his son to try to catch.
I mean, there's so many things to think about, right? I mean, and those things come down to, okay, did I make the right decision to fish this bank or this point or whatever it was, or did I just get lucky?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times it's just getting lucky. Now, it comes from experience of fishing here for 10, 15, 20 years for people, but, it does. Right place, right time is always nice. It really is.
It is that. And that's the thing, having good times with good people, good decision making, I don't know, man, it's just a fun time. You talk about you got into some of these things because of your son. Honestly, that's how I ended up with the Blind Hog, the kind of boat I have because of my daughter, right? She wanted to get back on the water. But as I look around and this awesome man cave, I saw a picture over there of you and your son with CA down there. And tell us about that.
The guy who heads up the community marketing for Yeti in the fishing side of things. I had, we've been watching Flats Class on YouTube and that kind of stuff. I was like, dang, I want to go fish with CA. So, I send the email, no response, follow up, no response. And then finally I was, the lady who handles the barbecue marketing for Yeti, she had come down to visit last year, and I actually took her out fishing. Her and Bud Bishop went out fishing, and I was on the boat and I was talking. I was like, "Hey, you think Jake, who's the fishing guy, you think Jake would get me connected with CA? Because I can't get a response, and I want to fish with him." She's like, "Yeah." So I text Jake, "Hey man, you think you can hook me up with CA?" And he put us in a group text, instant response. I was like, "Oh, thank you." So connection.
Sometimes it is who you know. Sometimes it is who you know.
So that was in February, and so what it was, I was planning to go down to Florida to turkey hunt, and I was going to try to tag onto that trip while I was in Central Florida and shoot over to that area and do it. And so we booked it, we linked it up, and then just through the relationships of Yeti and, just something about being in the career of barbecue and cooking, everybody can relate to that. Everybody likes to eat something. Everybody, to some degree, likes to cook something. And so we just kind of hit it off. We fished all day together, and then, he has that Flats Class University, which is an online subscription thing. You get some pretty cool discounts. You get a bait at the beginning of every month. He tells you all about that bait. So I'm a part of that online university deal, and so they were doing like a meetup, like a meet and greet down in Crystal River. And so Larkin had seen him, he knows we're buddies now and all that kind of stuff, so I took Larkin down there for the meet and greet to see CA, to see the shop that we buy a lot of stuff from down there, Sodium Fishing Products, and also they had the bait designer from Z-Man there, Jose Chavez, and he designed like the new shrimp, the Prawn Star, and the Mulletron and those things. And so Larkin likes to draw on Procreate, and we've done this bait making stuff here and there for fun. So Jose went through the process of how they create conceptual lures and what that looks like, and so it was just kind of cool deal. But we went to dinner one night and then hung out. So it's just kind of, just those things. Leverage for me, leveraging relationships to not to use people, but to give and provide Larkin opportunity. Yeah. Put him in front of people. Then he gets to demonstrate what kind of person he is, and then he gets to build his relationship and his reputation there. But he's pumped. He's going to go to ICAST with me this year. I went to ICAST for the first time last year, and if Larkin can meet like Blue Gabe or Hood Fishing or any of those guys, I mean, he's just going to die. So it's going to be good.
Well, what a way to grow up, right? I mean, oh my gosh, just having those opportunities, right? We grow up watching them on TV. I mean, Bill Dance Cash was mine, Roland Martin, Shaw Grigsby, I mean, all those guys. So for him to grow up at such a young age and meet them, I mean, you know, people like that are my idols. I mean, you know.
Think about the seeds that are being planted, you know, and I look at it, like I said, you guys found me a little time YouTuber because it created a passion, right? And then when you start, everybody knows I'm part of the Salt Strong Network, so I had a chance to talk to Luke Friday morning, you know, and we were talking about he's going to have a baby. He's one of the brothers, Luke and Joe Simons, and he used to be part of that network as well. And, you know, when you start meeting these people, it seems so far off at one time, like, why would these people even give me the time of day? And then you realize they're regular dudes and ladies just like we are, and it's, I don't know, hopefully it puts things in perspective. Even just seeing how we started this, if you got a dream of starting something, all I can tell you is start it, encourage it, you know, foster it. People kind of give us a little different. I'd say me and Gaston have got a couple side eyes, just being honest on the way we've done things. People can get pretty protective, can get pretty out of shape on some things. I don't look at it like that. I look at it as if your life's being made better and your son or daughter is being made, given, you know, if it can make them to where they dream of doing something down the road, every bit of it's worth it, man.
Yeah,
every bit.
And if you're going about things respectfully, I mean, I think it's just humble yourself to think back to, remember when you were having trouble catching trout on a consistent basis or having trouble finding the spot, somebody helped you. Yeah. And if they didn't, and you hard knocked the whole thing, wasn't that tough?
It was.
You know, like is it not worth trying to help somebody?
That's right. Usually, if you look along your life somewhere, you can say you're self-made, and some people very well are. But I'm sorry if you had to go along that road by yourself the whole way. Somebody should have reached down and said, you know what, let me help you out. So hopefully, that's what, when they see this and we do this, that's what they're seeing, right?
That's exactly what we're trying to do this for. You know, I was fortunate enough that my dad and his best friend took me trout fishing at 12 years old. Yeah. And I mean, from there, it was every week.
I didn't have that. You had that.
You know, I had it all going on, you know, with my dad taking me. So I knew all this information, right? I mean, we expanded on that, obviously. But yeah, I was very fortunate to have.
So I was like in 3rd or 4th grade. We had an early release day one day, and my buddy's dad picked us up, and we went trolling for trout in Campbell's Creek in like 3rd or 4th grade. And I didn't catch another trout until it was 2017 or 18. We were doing a barbecue event in St. Simons, Georgia, and took a guide out and caught, you know, just that way.
So we actually had a young man just join us, Mr. Larkin. Buddy, it's good to have you. Come join us at the table. We were just talking about you, how you and your dad used the outdoors to kind of hang out and see some cool stuff. And you got to, and he said you're pretty good at drawing and different things and helping make lures. You want to tell us about getting a chance to go down to see Mr. CA and them and Mr. Chavez, where you got to see some of that bait making? Was that pretty cool?
Yes, sir.
What was your favorite part? Is that something that maybe sparked some interest in you for what you want to do later? Or I don't know, what do you like about it? What do you like about hanging out and doing the fishing and just making the baits and spending time outdoors? What do you like about it? Tell us a little bit.
So, I started off for my career wanted to be an artist or like an architect. But then I told my dad, like, I'm really into, like, Yeti and all that stuff, and I'm into drawing. So then he said, like, well, maybe you should be a product designer. So then I was like, yeah. So then I got to meet CA at the fishing class. I got to meet their Jose, and it was just amazing because I got to learn some experience. He actually invited us over to Z-Man headquarters.
That's pretty cool.
That is very cool. I think every man right now is like,
I'm jealous.
Yeah. So keep on. I'm sorry, you're good.
Me and my dad were also in a Yeti photo shoot. So in February, we're going out into Austin, Texas to go to Yeti headquarters for like a big release.
That is awesome, dude.
Try to introduce them to some of the product designers there and let them see, you know, all this stuff with these big companies seems, you know, maybe the process is kind of out there, but like Jose uses Procreate. Procreate's a free app that you can download on your iPad and draw.
Oh no, it ain't free. It's $13.
Oh, my bad.
Hey, when you're $13 is a lot of money, but
You had to do some chores.
I was probably told it was free.
yeah.
I'm just on Procreate.
But it's a simple, app, and he showed us how he uses the layers and those kind of things, and what I've tried to show him and tell him is that if you have a passion in something, and I didn't understand this, and I don't think we had these opportunities, or they weren't clear to us when we were younger. If you like fishing and you want to make a living in fishing, that doesn't mean being Kevin Van Dam or Bill Dance.
That's right. Everybody's not in front of the camera catching the fish.
Yeah, say you enjoy fishing, but you're a technical guy. Maybe you're the editor. Maybe you're the cameraman. Maybe you're the product designer. There's so many different levels. Or maybe you're the attorney for a company. There's so many ways that you can be involved in the outdoor business, and it not be, because let's be honest, the TV show host, the big paid guys, the faces of these brands, those are few and far between. So there's so many opportunities to get into it on the backside.
That list that runs at the end of the program is the people that have done it.
Yeah.
The guy in front of the camera or talking or whatever is the one that just basically put the face to it, right?
Yep.
So,
and I've been fortunate by, making relationships with that list that runs at the end and, getting connections.
So the color that the photo shoot was, we have a cooler right there. So there's the color.
We won't tell what color it is. Don't tell.
Nope.
Nope.
It's a
Can't
secret.
tell.
It's a secret.
Nope.
It'll probably be out by the time this airs, but can't tell the color. Well, we did see that color, and it stood out very well, and that's pretty cool. So you had a chance to help design that?
I didn't design it. I was just in the photo shoot.
Okay. So you got to help market it and that kind of stuff.
Yes, sir.
So at 7 years old, you've had a chance to work with marketing people,
I think
designers.
I was 6 when.
Okay, but hey, that's even better. So, marketing people, designers, product designers, good land. I mean, you go on down the line. I mean, you've had a chance to meet and talk to all these people, and so you can actually get to tell your friends, not in a braggy way, but hey, these things are out there, and you guys may want to try it too, right? We're talking in our schools about STEM. We're talking in our schools about trying to do these things and follow your passions and be your own individual is what's being pushed. But if you look at it, that can be following those things and those routes that you never thought were possible. And so is that something you kind of say, hey, if I can dream it and I can do it, I can probably achieve it? That's something you kind of found out now?
Sometimes.
Well, sometimes it gets a little tough, but I think
Sometimes I don't really think that positive.
I don't think none of us do. It's kind of like catching a trout. It gets tough sometimes, don't we? But
Especially in the middle of fall.
in the middle of winter,
Larkin ain't a wintertime fall fish. He ain't a cast and twitching paws. He don't have much paws in his life.
I got you, buddy. Thus the rollerblades coming in here. Every morning.
Larkin is he is a cut bait and live bait man.
I got you. Is that what you kind of like to do?
He's gonna be our first mate this summer. He's gonna be your live bait man, and
I got you. That is awesome, dude. Well, what else, Larkin? Is there anything else that you've kind of, since you and your dad have been doing this with, whether it's the barbecue or with Yeti or the baits, what's something else that you've kind of found that you thought was pretty cool that maybe you never thought you'd get to experience, or something that you just really like doing? Is there any of that?
Yes, sir.
What's that?
So I kind of have a job at St. John's. So the job is we go to one of the St. John's places, and we have a machine that will seal bags and just get the food packed for our online order and shipping. So I get to use that machine a lot just to get it sealed.
Like a vacuum sealer type thing and stuff like that?
he's a chamber back specialist.
That's what I'm talking about.
Specialist.
Dang.
Somebody young for specialist. That's impressive.
That is pretty impressive.
I get paid $7.25 an hour.
That is awesome, man. And then in turn, hard work is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that, buddy. And you keep that up.
And he asked for a raise after his first day.
His first day.
He got 3 compliments from some of our other guys that were there working, and his head got big. And by the end of his first day, he wanted a raise.
You don't know if you don't ask, do you?
I mean, if you ask for a phrase at the end of the first day, you're officially a Sam Jones employee.
Buddy, there has never been more truth told.
That is awesome.
Oh Lord. Oh, that's good. That's good.
Do you know how scared I am right now?
Probably.
For him to have a microphone in front of him, and when his eyes get big, and he's waiting his turn to speak, and I don't know what's about to come out.
This is great. Though.
This is awesome.
This is what it's all about, right? I mean, this is the reason why we do it.
This is
real.
real.
To get the kids involved. I mean, his experiences are awesome. I mean, and he's pumped. You can tell he's pumped.
Yeah.
He's got the passion at an early age. I mean, really. I mean, there's no telling where he's going to go. You're talking about what Fox Hollow is going to be or not be. I mean, it's in good hands.
How he wanted it to be, honestly, he wanted it to be a YouTube channel.
Okay.
But I will tell you.
We do have a YouTube channel that we haven't posted in about a year, and we only have.
Yeah, we have
Three videos.
We got 3 videos, like 2 years old, Fox Hollow Outdoors. But, a lot of things we do is just me and him.
Yeah.
And so me getting all the gear together, running the boat, running the trolling motor, the net, the larking, and the camera, it just got to be too much. And, kudos to anybody who does the YouTube stuff on whatever level you're doing it. Because the editing and uploading process is annoying.
It takes forever.
And then, the batteries are always dying, or, you don't have the camera on the fish, and you do when you ain't catching nothing.
And then the sun heats up your camera too much. That just turns off for, you can say 3 hours or more.
Yep.
Then you just can't film, so you're just like.
And sometimes sometimes we go out and just don't film because it's honestly fun sometimes just to experience and to live.
So with turkey hunting, you've been on having the different camera angles out there and just filming him turkey hunting and stuff, and mainly for the memories. Because I will tell you this, I've never felt the adrenaline rush. I had a really big, weird adrenaline rush right before I proposed.
Yeah.
Like just a heart beating out of the chest.
Oh, yeah, make you sick on your stomach kind of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
But when he was 4 and he was squaring up on his first turkey, we had the gun at a little 410 and we had it tightened down in one of the tripods, and he was in my lap and my heart was beating out of my chest. And when he pulled the trigger and that bird fell, and it was one of those things for me that I've looked back on so many times, was that coincidence? Mm-hmm. Did he really aim it up? You know what I'm saying? How did this happen? Right. Because I wasn't looking down the gun anymore. And the pride that I had and the happiness when that happened, that was the hook, line, and sinker for me. Yeah. That's when I started chasing this fishing stuff and the deer hunting and all that kind of stuff. But seeing him, so I was I wanted to capture and film because I wanted the memories. It wasn't about posting a video to me or anything. I just wanted that memory because I wanted to relive it because I've never had so much pride and happiness.
Yeah.
But I'd get out there and the bird come in, I'd get excited. I'd forget to cut the camera on. And, his bird last year, we did catch that on camera, but I've missed most of the good ones. But
you got the memories, and that's okay. That's all right. Sometimes you can ruin stuff by trying to plan it too much, and sometimes I think that we're a good testament of that with our podcast, right? We come in here and we may not be as prim and polished as some people and as others, but we're as real as they come, and we're going to have a good time, and we're going to hopefully when we come into your car or your living room or your computer or whatever it is that you're listening on your phone, you're going to say, you know what, I want to hang out with them dudes because they are real, they're country boys, they love to do this, and we hopefully can see that and hear that, and that's what we're about. And so as we kind of get ready to wrap today up, we've just had an awesome time sitting around the table today and talking, reliving some memories, introducing you guys to Michael Letchworth and his family, and just that's what we're about, is highlighting some really good people in our area that can hopefully give you some new experiences, help you out and learn. And I appreciate Mr. Larkin coming in today and sharing with us. And hopefully, like I said, show your kids that, hey, things are possible. I know these guys are open books and willing to help, and so reach out and get to know them, follow their Instagrams and Facebooks and stuff like that.
I know a lot more about barbecue than I do travel.
There you go. And so we'll help anyway.
You're in business. I mean, what else would you know?
But we just have a good time, and we appreciate you. So as we round out today, Michael has come with Fox Hollow Outdoors and wants to give something back to the listeners, and so we're going to do a giveaway. In just a second, he's going to tell you what you're going to win, but we're going to tell you what you're going to do. So we're going to have, when this podcast drops, you have two options. We're going to put, of course, it'll be on YouTube, and underneath here, how about what do we want to put?
Fox Hollow.
Fox Hollow. We're going to, so under YouTube, type the term Fox Hollow underneath this video on the podcast, and then put your name, because it's hard for me to figure out who some of the usernames are because they're not people's names. So I need you to put Fox Hollow, comma, your name, okay? And then that way I can know who you are. And also it's going to be on Instagram, so I want you to go and follow Fox Hollow Outdoors, guys. And at this time, Mr. Michael's going to tell you what he's going to give you guys, whoever wins our giveaway.
Yeah, so we'll just kind of make it a comprehensive kind of package of what Fox Hollow was. So we're going to do both of our seasonings. So we have all-purpose salt that's just great on anything. We've got a wild game seasoning that initially was designed for deer, but I found that I like it the best on trout, redfish, in a pan with some butter. It's great. But the cool thing about that seasoning is there's no sugar in it. So for some people, dietary, but anyhow, but it also, due to the lack of sugar, it doesn't burn bad on the pan or on the grill. So both of those seasonings, we're going to throw in a t-shirt. Once we find out the person, I'll find out your size and I'll ship this out directly. And then we're going to throw in 5 of our mirror lures.
Wow.
And we'll probably throw in some soft plastics and stuff in there. You might even get an autographed picture from Larkin or something like that.
There you go.
Because my man's got a citation on the wall over here, so that's pretty cool. So
real quick, Larkin, tell them about that first citation you caught. Real quick, like the short version.
Where were you?
So we were just out on a really rough day. The waves were going over the boat.
Okay. Time of the year. When was it? Spring, fall, summer?
Summer, I think it was 2023.
Okay.
We were just out, bad day. We were just reeling in our rods, and my dad said, "Hey, this rod feels kind of tight. You want to reel it in?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So then I reeled it in, and then he was like, "Oh shoot, that's the darn fish!"
So what happened? We were fishing live bait, and so I had rods up in the holders, and I had the bell open, letting the float float. Well, it was windy, blowing. We were in a flat bottom skiff. I mean, it was not a fun day, and we were about to call it quits. Well, I happened to look at the rod, and my reel had been spooled, and I just thought the wind was blowing it,
Really carrying it.
So I grabbed the rod down because it's on that frantic moment, not frantic, but I was like, I'm ready to get out of here. I'm trying to reel stuff in, but when I realized it was spooled, I was like, Larkin, reel this in. And so he's like reeling, and all of a sudden he hands me, I was like, maybe there is something up there, and I hand it back to him, and he had him a 25-inch trout. I don't know how long it had been on there.
I don't fall far from the table.
I was about to say.
So Larkin had a citation trout before I ever did.
He's got a bigger fish than I've got. What are you talking about? My biggest 24 and a half.
I also have 30-inch drum experience.
That
was pretty hard. Hooked it up myself. It was so much fun.
That is awesome, dude. You keep it up.
And the rod was just out there for, I don't know, 2 minutes, and it just had a whole finger mullet up there. Next thing you know, I'm reeling in a 30-inch drum.
Good land. Exactly. The acorn don't fall far from the tree. But look,
They got a good one on.
that's it. We have had a blast, y'all, and we appreciate you coming along and tuning in with us. Hey, keep listening. Don't forget, like I said, if you will, follow the podcast, like and share it. It'll help us out. Leave us a review if you don't mind. And then, like I said, if there's anything you have questions, please drop them below. We'll pass them along to Michael. He can answer whether it's about barbecue or whether it's about fishing. If me and Gaston can help you out, we'll do that. But we're just glad you're here. We appreciate you. So from all of us here at Blind Hog Adventures, we want to say thank you. God bless. Take care, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Take care, guys.
Thank y'all.
Than to be on the water when the sun comes peeking in under that Carolina sky in the Lord's creation, ripping some lips on my favorite waters, taking blind hog adventures with someone